Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 63 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on doing at least 2 things every day I don't want to do just because I know it'd be good for me. So, yay for day 63, and oh, yay for only 37 days left to go. Okay, so I know my hair ties do not match my shirt, but it's what I wore to work today, so I didn't feel like changing my hair ties or changing my hair. So, but I did change my clothes because I don't want to wear my work clothes when I get home. Anyway, things I did not want to do today. Lots of things I did not want to do today. So where to start with things I did not want to do today? So today I needed to get my blood pressure checked at work, which I don't like doing, but I did. And it was actually lower, which was good. And then I forgot that I had a doctor's appointment today, and I could have just waited and used that for my blood pressure. But oddly, when my doctor's appointment rolled around, my blood pressure was higher than it was before lunch when I had my blood pressure taken by my coworker, which I do not have an explanation for. So not really thrilled about that. Also today, did not want to deal with today. I didn't want to do any grief work tonight, but I did that. I really struggled with that. I also, mostly I decided to just challenge myself to see if I could do it all left-handed, and I got almost to the end left-handed until I was burning my dinner, and then I took my food off the stove so it wasn't burning anymore, and then I finished it right-handed. Purpose for the challenge, because one, I didn't want to do my grief work, but two, I think it was exactly what I needed to do, because it was talking about something about grief. I can't remember the word, I apologize. It has something to do about, like, I want to say foreshadowing. Don't know that that's anticipatory. That's what it was. Anticipatory grief, where you're anticipating how much grief you're going to be in, or you're anticipating how bad the situation is going to be. And that's exactly what I was doing, because I saw the doctor today for my wrist, and he did mention some exercise for my wrist, but it's just like one exercise, and I'm like, there's got to be more or something else that I could do for my wrist. So I'm going to try to look into that and see if I can figure it out, because basically he said I need to stop repetitive motions with my wrist, which the most repetitive motions I do is writing, and he actually told me to do more typing and less writing. And more typing I don't mind, especially since more typing is working on my book and other such things, which I did not do today. Excuse me, I don't know where that came from. I'm tired. Apparently I'm tired. But repetitive motions that I do all the time is writing, and I've been working really hard to write and made that goal to write in my journal every day for every day this year, and so far I've written for every day this year. I'd love to say I've written every single day this year, but I can't necessarily say that. But I have a journal entry for every day this year, so that makes me very happy. And I've been working on writing in the mornings, and so I'm just kind of like I basically started panicking with the idea that I won't be able to write, or that I would have to have surgery, and started panicking about how much that's going to cost me, and then of course the recovery, and then am I still going to be able to write? Like, what's going to happen? And this is my ADHD brain. And my grief and my PTSD and whatever, because in reading about anticipatory grief, it talks about how just to deal with the trauma and the addicts and the people in my life, we anticipate what's going to happen as a means to protect ourselves. And I realized as I was writing that doing that is I basically prevented myself from enjoying the moment, from seeing what was real, and thinking that by anticipating or trying to anticipate what was going to happen or how other people were going to respond, that I was going to save myself some kind of pain or anguish or something. And I don't think I ever had that much power or that control. It was just a nice little illusion. But now it's hard to determine, to think calmly enough to realize what my choices are, what my goals are, and that I have options, and that I have choices, and that I am not stuck with this. And I don't necessarily have to feel all of these emotions. Like, I'm having all of this grief and this panic about what's going to happen and how my life is going to be without the use of my wrist and my right hand, and how I'm going to deal with that. And I'm going to have to write left-handed, and I'm going to have to practice writing left-handed. And seriously like I've gone off the deep end at this point and know that I've gone off the deep end at this point. So again, still writing left-handed to do my grief work because I'm still off the deep end, but writing about it and realizing that I'm doing just that, going off the deep end and thinking this is just a gift from God, that he's pointing this out to me, that I already knew that. And I know that God can help me, whatever the answer and whatever the solution is. And so the next thing I didn't really want to do, and actually I did that before my grief thing, but I asked a couple of people that I know if they would be willing to give me a priesthood blessing. I think I've mentioned them before, but basically for my religion, those of you that aren't, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we believe that members of the church have the priesthood, or the power of God, the ability to bless and to heal, and to do those things, according to God's will and his plan, and that they have that power just like the apostles and just like the Savior did in the New Testament time. So it's always nice and beneficial to get that extra spiritual boost and comfort. And so I was asked if I needed a blessing of healing, and I was like, I don't know that I necessarily need to be healed. I didn't think about it till afterwards. Yeah, heal my wrist, that would be fantastic. But I didn't ask for that. I just asked for a blessing of comfort because I knew I was having a hard time. I knew that I was overreacting, that my emotions were like clear off the deep end as to what the worst possible case scenario is going to be. Like I'm just going to lose complete use of my right hand, which doesn't necessarily have to happen. But I asked a couple of people, and one person didn't respond. Well, actually, two people didn't respond. One person said they couldn't, but they'd see if they said I could send someone else, or you can wait till Sunday. And I'm like, well, if you can send someone else, great. And if not, I'll wait till Sunday because I don't know who else to ask. And they did end up sending someone else, and it was amazing. We had a nice little visit chat because he just wanted to kind of get to know me, see how I was doing, figure out what was going on. And so I told him what was going on, and I got a priesthood blessing, and it was exactly what I needed. It was more than what I needed, and it was so comforting. And I'm just so grateful for all of that, and for all of the words that were said, and not going to share all of them. But there was the promise that I could look and find other exercises to strengthen my wrist so that it would be able to handle and bear all of the writing that I need to do, and that I would continue to be able to journal and to write the words that God would have me to write and to express and to share those. And so to me, it was just that reminder that God knows that writing is my outlet, and I need that for my mental health. And also that I handwrite the thoughts and ideas that I get from my songs and other things like that before I type them up. And so I write things out, and I need to do that. And so I'm very grateful to be reminded that I have other options, and that God has a plan for me, and that God is aware of me, and that he knows me, and he loves me, and he knows that I need to be able to write. So he has promised me that if I find the exercises and do them, that I can strengthen my wrist, and that it will be able to bear the burden of all the writing that I do with it, because I can't give up my writing. And that was my biggest concern today when I came home. And of course, I'm very grateful that I was the last patient of the day, and that there weren't any more patients coming in, and I did not have a total meltdown or breakdown at work. I did cry in front of the doctor, but that was his fault, not mine. And it had nothing to do with the fact that what he was telling me, because he had to figure out what was wrong with my wrist and where it hurt. So you know how they do that. They just poke and prod until they're like, oh, this hurts. And I was like, yeah, that hurts. That's the spot right there. He's like, just this spot. Like, it doesn't hurt over here and over here. I'm like, nope, it doesn't hurt anywhere else. It just hurts right there. So he keeps poking at it. He's like, okay. And then I mentioned that, when I move it, it kind of makes a clicking sound. He's like, oh, does it? Let me see how this works. So then he pushed on it and had me move my wrist at the same time. And then I cried, because that's what hurts. And he was like, oh, I know exactly what this is. And I was like, great. So basically what he said is the muscle the tendon in my wrist has gotten too loose. So it's too loose, which is kind of random. So it needs to be tightened up. It needs to be toned, I guess, so I need to figure out how to do that. But he's like, use less repetition, like do less riding, wear more braces, do more immobilization. I was like, oh, not looking forward to any of those things, but I will try to find the right exercises. If anybody knows, you can comment down below. I'm open to wrist exercises, suggestions. But it is the outside, the right side outside of my wrist, my right wrist. So it's not carpal tunnel. I posted something on Facebook and I got a couple of responses about carpal tunnel, and I was like, it is not carpal tunnel. That's not what's wrong with me. In fact, my doctor told me to do more typing and less writing. And I'm like, okay, so it is not typing. It's not carpal tunnel. That is not my problem. That would be nice. But it's the muscle, the tendon in my wrist that is like too loose. And then because it's on that side and because I write on that side, it just constantly gets rubbed and pushed around. And so it's pinching. And so that's what's causing the pain. So they would have to do surgery to fix that, or I would have to do some exercises or something to tone it, to fix it, to strengthen it. So I'd much prefer to find gonna have to do some research and find the exercises to strengthen the muscles and the tendons in my wrist. So as to be able to continue to write. And he did give me the nice fancy name for it, and I don't remember what it is, and I didn't bring the piece of paper with it on there. So if you really want to know what it is, ask me in the comments or message me and I will type it up in there. Maybe I'll get it and type it up in the comments. I'll put it in the comments. I'll type it up in the comments and then you can figure out how to pronounce it. I don't even know how to pronounce things like that. But anyway, that was kind of devastating news, the idea of not being able to use my wrist as much or not being able to write. And I was like, I have to be able to write. So I just kind of went into panic mode and I did not want to do anything after I got home from work. So I'm amazed that I still did dishes. I still made dinner. I asked people for help. I reached out and asked for help for a priesthood blessing. And I sat down and I did my grief work. I was like, something else I did not want to do. And I thought I was going to do that today anyway, because today's my grandmother's birthday, and I'm named after my grandmother, and she passed away almost 13 years ago, 14 years ago. She passed away in September of 2009. So that would have been about 14 years. This September will be 14 years, I think. So not quite 14 years, but it's been a long time. But I was really close to my grandmother, so I was just missing her today. And so I figured I was going to need to do some grief work anyway. I just had no idea that it was going to be anticipatory grief and that it was going to be about my wrist. But I think that God knew that, and so he was pushing me to do that. And I'm grateful that I listened to that little prompting, to that little push, and I said, okay, I don't really want to do this, but I want to feel better, so I'm going to do this. And I'm also very grateful that I did not shut down today. I have to just point that out in my videos, because me personally, I'm like, I don't know if it's the medication that's working, or I don't know if it's just the fact that I've been doing things I don't want to do every day for the past 63 days. But I've been doing this, and I didn't shut down. I let myself cry, which I don't like to do. So I did that, which is something else I don't like to do. I let myself cry. I let myself pray. I still did my dishes. I still came home and did things. I didn't shut down. I didn't isolate. I didn't run away from the problem. I didn't wallow in self-pity. I didn't say this is the end and there's no possible hope. I just kept praying that there was another way. I just kept praying that I could find some kind of answers or some kind of peace, and tell God that I know that he's capable of whatever it is, and whatever I'm going through, I'm sure there's a reason, and that he's going to help me do this. And I'm like just begging him to help me figure out how to get through this, because I know I will get through this. And so I'm so very grateful that I did that today. That to me, I just like being able to see the change in myself. And that's part of the reason I do these videos, is because it helps me to recognize that these things that I'm doing that are so hard for me to do, they don't necessarily become easier, but they're starting to become a little bit more automatic. They're becoming a little bit more routine. They're starting to sink in, like, this is what I have to do, even though I don't want to do. And I even did that today. It was really kind of hilarious, because my friend that's doing the poems, and I was like, I don't want to do a poem today. And then it looked like a really hard poem, and I was like, I think it's called a quadrant poem or something like that. Something to do with quadrants and something to do with 4. And you have to write 4 lines of a poem, and and they have to rhyme. At least 2 lines have to rhyme. And well, yeah, anyway, you have to do like a B thing, or A. Anyway, basically it just means that all 4 lines have to rhyme, or 2 out of 4 lines have to rhyme, and you can alternate which 2, so 2 and 2 have to rhyme. And it could be 2 in a row, and then the other 2 rhyme, or it could be alternating ones that rhyme. And I did alternating ones that rhyme for mine. But not only that, but the lines that rhyme have to have the same number of syllables in them. So I was like, this is super confusing. I'm so not doing this. And basically, I don't remember exactly what my poem was, but I put on there that I was like, I don't want to write a poem today. Basically, because I don't have time to do a poem. So I think I said I'm not going to write a poem today because I don't have the time, you see. It takes too much time away. I'm too busy, can't you see? Or something, I don't know. Anyway, it was something to that effect because I just didn't want to do it. And again, this is proof I do not remember what I write because I can't even remember what I wrote. But I do remember that my friend who's doing that, she made a little comment on there, and she's like, oh, that's so funny. You wrote a poem saying you're not going to write a poem. So she's like, I'm going to call you the accidental poet. And I just thought it was hilarious, the accidental poet. So I was like, thanks for the laugh. I just put one of those laughing faces on there. And I was like, thanks for the laugh. Because I just thought it was funny. Yay, I'm the accidental poet because I wrote a poem about not wanting to write a poem. So, which is exactly what I did. So anyway, that's what I did today. Those are all the things I did today that I did not want to do today. So, boy, it was just a lot of things to do, and just a very emotional day that I didn't realize was going to be so emotional today. But I'm grateful to God for helping me get through it, and for reminding me that He loves me and that He's there for me, and that in doing the things I didn't want to do, I actually found the peace and the comfort that I needed today, and I didn't get stuck wallowing in self-pity. I didn't get stuck sitting on my couch and thinking my life is over and this is the end of the world, and I didn't give up on my goal of writing in my journal and of moving forward with my life. I didn't just, let everything stand still in my mind. I mean, I know the world keeps going and life keeps going, but I don't just get stuck and stop right where I'm at, which I've done so many times in the past. So even though it was hard to change that behavior today, to respond differently, I am so grateful for the different response because it has brought so much peace to me, and I feel so much better and so much lighter right now than I did when I came home from work tonight, and I was just bawling my eyes out because I was just overreacting and thinking this is the end. And so I just wanted to share all of that, and it makes me so grateful to be doing these videos, to have the opportunity to share and to stay on track and to get myself to do the things I don't want to do, because that's what these videos are for. And I know that God is using them to teach me, and hopefully to teach any of you that are watching these videos that it is possible. And it doesn't make it easy, but sometimes doing the things I don't want to do that are good for me actually make me feel better, and actually bring me the peace that I've been looking for, and help me to break those patterns that I know aren't healthy and that are keeping me from moving forward. So I'm very grateful to be moving forward today and to be finding peace and seeing growth and change in myself. So thank you very much for listening to me and my ramblings, and for watching my videos. And if you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude, and maybe find 1 or 2 things to do today that you don't want to do, but would be good for you.